test PPD 0.1 milliliters ID intradermally. Okay, so that's what he's ordered. We're going to give that. So when it says 0.1 milliliters, what does that mean? That means I'm going to put the equal amount of air into the vial. So I've washed my hands and I've gathered my equipment. This is usually got a top on it, so I've taken the top off, and I'm gonna make sure that that's drawn.
So is that enough, or do you want us to do the 3 to 5 seconds?
3 to 5 seconds, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I just don't want to fail.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I try not to touch the barrel of the syringe, you know. This is okay, you can touch the outside, but the barrel part, the white part, or the syringe part, that goes in and out of the syringe. So I try not to keep my hands away from the inside there, not the flange, but the inside there. Okay, then it's sterile to sterile, so I haven't touched my tip with anything. So I open it up, and I know that this is sterile right there, so it's going to be sterile to sterile. And you gotta kind of reef down on these because you don't want them coming apart when you give an injection. Okay. And usually, if you just go like that, and you do it with some force, of course, then it comes off. If you just try and do it like this, you're going to poke yourself. So just, okay. But not around. Okay, so then you're just going to, this is a tuberculin syringes, and that's what we have lined out on the tables here. So you're just going to put, you know, sometimes it's good just to loosen up these things because they get kind of sticky. But anyway, so that's 0.1, and you'll be able to see that that's 0.1 on your syringe. Okay, this is dried, so I've actually put air in it. Then I'm going to invert it, and I'm going to take it down to 0.1. And this is what I mean about the tip of the, and so you put a little bit more in, and then you just kind of squirt it like that. This is what I mean about the tip of the needle. You have to have it in the solution. If this was a small vial, this tip could very well be in the air right there, or if it was a long needle, it could be very well in the air, and you'd just be pulling air out. So anyway, it comes out rather easy, and then you just line up your. Okay, so I'm not going to. Yeah. So then this other alcohol thing is for my patient. Okay, and then this is on. Well, actually, when you get checked off, we'll be right at the station. But if, like, let's say you were at the patient's room, you would go ahead and double check the orders. I think that, doesn't your checkoff list say that you check it at least 2 or 3 times?
It should be 3.
3 times, okay. So once before, once after you're done, and then once at the bedside when you're checking the patient's armband and asking the person's name and we do name and birth date at the hospital. I don't know what Shasta does.
Same thing, and
Two
they also have a
identifiers.
cross-check with the medical record number.
2 identifiers, that's what it is. Okay, so TB test, PPD 0.1 milliliters, okay, and then I look here to make sure that this is the PPD, and it is. All right, but PPD obviously comes in little tiny vials. Yeah. Okay, so then I'm all ready to give my intradermal, and are these really cute blebs?
I don't know, I was going to ask you, that was my next question.
Oh, well, we didn't have these.
Oh.
So we don't have to switch out the needle? You said on this check sheet.
No, the only time you switch out a needle is, one, if it's not the right size needle that you wanted to, let's say the stuff was really viscous and you had to draw it up with a large bore needle, or if it was a glass ampule and you had to use a filter needle, then you would switch out to a regular needle. But this is the size that we want. And so that's a matter of just knowing your medications too, which ones are viscous. Okay, so I've let that dry, and then the skin is taut, but you would just kind of like bevel up, make it taut, right under the skin, probably at a 5 to 15 degree angle.
It's going to make a bleb.
Is it going to give me a bleb? No, it doesn't give a bleb. It doesn't give a bleb. But right under the skin, this would bulge up.
And
I
when
would-
you
I wouldn't-
test, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't leave it in there that long, I would just and do it, I mean, I'm not,
Now, when you actually test off, you test off on your partner,
yeah.
okay, so.
And you have to make a blood, yeah. Yeah, and then you're explaining to the patient why what this PPD is for, and, you know, this is not a vaccine, this is only to determine if your body has made antibodies to the tuberculin germ itself, it's not a vaccine or immunization or anything like that. So it has to be read in 48 to 72 hours, and you tell them that they have to come back and somebody has to read it. And then it gets documented that you were negative or positive. If it's positive, you're looking for an induration of more than 5 millimeters in size. So it goes by induration, so not by erythema, not how red it is, but how large the bump is. So generally speaking, people, if they're negative, it goes away in 48 hours and there's nothing. But you look on the sheet to make sure where you're looking is right, if it's right forearm or left forearm, and it should be documented on the sheet when you first give it. After you do this, you document it on the sheet, where you gave it, right forearm, left forearm, whatever, intradermally, and your initials. Okay, and then, of course, then this goes like this. We don't bother putting it down or anything. This is just so you don't hook somebody on your way to the sharps. Anyway, this will go into the sharps container, just like that.
So guys, as people, many who are new handling this type of equipment, when you're transporting that needle, you absolutely pay attention. Like, I'm on a mission. Because the last thing you want to do is inadvertently poke one of your friends. I mean, when you're out there nursing and you're starting and sometimes it's so hectic, you know, if you start with the good practice standard now, it'll help you during those times.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want to